This was the last footage recovered from Brian and Elizabeth disappearing investigation, and also a mystery question on who can really do that to them, because their body remainings were beyond unrecognizable.
In the year 2010, Elizabeth lived in the United States, whereby she used to be an actor. Like sometimes she could go to a certain television studio and host a certain show. And for that, she really made a good amount of money at that time, so she didn't depend on anybody. Despite that, Elizabeth had a boyfriend, who somehow was a photographer and a video producer. His name was Brian. Now most of the time, Elizabeth and Brian, they worked at the same TV studios. But as for Elizabeth, happy moments didn't last longer. This is because she was fired from her work, and now she became jobless. This situation really pushed her at an edge, since she had a lot of bills to take care of, in which it would be impossible at the time because she had no work. On the other side, Brian continued working his work perfectly at the TV studio, and so he was the one who sometimes helped Elizabeth with financial support. This jobless condition of Elizabeth lasted for almost a year now. She had been trying to apply for jobs all over, but it was all a dead end. In short, there was no any job vacancy anywhere. And so life began to become harder. She spent nights making different calls to try any luck, and that's where she found out that there was this TV show, who they were looking for an actor who will host a one-day job. And so Elizabeth decided to go to try her luck, and it happened that Elizabeth was approved to do the work due to her work experience. Which indeed made her to be happy, since for sure she really needed the money. And so the show was to take place on Saturday night. According to the show description, Elizabeth was to pretend to be a blind date, whereby she would be meeting unknown guy and she could ask him different questions to see if he matches. But remember, all of this was to be like an act just to impress the audience. So when Elizabeth informed her boyfriend Brian about the work, he didn't have any problem at all. He understood it was to be an act only. But what he didn't know is that this one-day job will change everything completely. And so on Saturday evening, he even walked Elizabeth to the show, so as he could witness her girlfriend's job. So as to be clear, this show was somehow popular at those days, and so many people loved and watched it. But now, for all of the years Brian had been with Elizabeth, there is one secret Brian had never told his girlfriend, because he feared it might ruin their relationship. Now during the show, the unknown man for the blind date was known as Eric. Eric was from a very rich popular family, and so he was popular somehow, in which he was about to complicate things on Elizabeth and Brian relationship. This is because after the show, Eric approached Elizabeth and confessed to her that he likes her somehow. At first Elizabeth thought for a minute, then due to desperation of her broke situation, Elizabeth saw an opportunity to be rich, whereby she will not be needing to go to work at all. And so she decided to accept Eric's offer and be her girlfriend. Remember, all of this is happening and Brian isn't aware of anything. But what Elizabeth didn't know is that Eric wasn't too straight, like he was not into girls only, meaning he liked men too. It's like he was doing the gay thing on the other hand. But nobody knew it except for one secret person. And so by coincidence, the same night after Eric said goodbyes to Elizabeth, it happened that Brian and him crossed one another while they were on their own work, and so Brian recognized him from the show, and he said hey to him. You know, in Brian's mind, he thought it would be just greetings, but that wasn't the case because things changed when Eric decided to try his luck on him. Unexpected, Brian was interested in Eric too. The big secret that Brian had been keeping from her girlfriend Elizabeth is that he was a gay too. But he didn't want people to know. And that's why he had been dating Elizabeth, just to hide who he really is. Now Elizabeth and Brian found themselves dating one particular person, but remember, they don't know that yet because everyone is doing things behind one another. At least that is what they thought at the time. But the irony is that Eric had another ex-wife who she lived in the same town, and lately the wife had been demanding her share from Eric. But Eric wasn't willing to share his wealth with that woman. And that's why Eric is looking forward to bond with either Elizabeth or Brian. so as he could minimize his stress and enjoy himself too. But Eric knew that his wife was very short-tempered to an extent that she threatened his life once. Meaning Eric knew that she can do anything just to get his wealthy. Eric even knew that she would come in the blind date show. And to shock you, all of this time, Eric knew that Brian and Elizabeth were couples, and that's why he decided to use them for something terrible. But things started getting crazy when Eric decided to confront her ex-wife. I don't know why, but Eric admitted to her his relationship with Brian and Elizabeth. It's like he knew somehow her ex-wife will lose her nerves when hearing that she won't be able to get any of Eric's shares. And for that she started stalking Brian and Elizabeth every move. Remember, all of this time, Brian and Elizabeth are lying to one another, since no one confessed to one another that they have been seeing Eric. But all of this time, Eric had an hidden agenda no one knew. So one day Brian and Elizabeth decides to go to an adventure on certain mountains in order to get some pictures, and at the same time, it happened that Eric's ex-wife followed them one by one. Without exaggerating things, Brian and Elizabeth didn't come out alive from those mountains. The only one who knew what really happened was Eric's ex-wife. But a week later, Eric went to the police station and reported their disappearing. On his report, he said that his ex-wife was the one responsible and that he even had evidence of her. And that's where the investigation started, and to its surprise Eric wasn't wrong. But the big question was, how did Eric knew about all of this? Can he be the mastermind person behind all of those incidents, like he knew his ex-wife will do something terrible like that?